The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. A group of people decided to create some standard for themselves, and now they are forcing the rest of the world to follow that same standard. And these are the people that are always preaching salvation to the rest of the world, but it turns out that these same people are not born again. And they are making sure that other people follow what they think is good. According to them, they are there to make sure that there's transparency, accountability, no corruption, no mismanagement of resources, and so on and so forth. But these same people are facing fraud probe. Two biggest names in European Union are facing this. And in the center of it all is the president of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. She just came, this is her second term that she's running. And within this thing that she has come again the second time, some European members are already not happy with the way she's running the Commission. Some are saying that she's not transparent. They don't see certain things that she's doing to be right. So there are a lot of things that are happening around European Union and the Commission. These are the people that are preaching good deeds to the world. So these are people we are expecting that they will be clean angels. But this thing happening there is something that we don't understand. Because these are the same people telling us in Africa, the one that is a dictator, the one that is not managing things, and always they point fingers at our leaders and say they are corrupt. Like recently they came and they're talking about the Sahel, and they say they have to come and save them like they are saving Ukraine. Not knowing these same people need to be saved. At least we need to send Sahel, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to go and save them.
Europe is staring at a scandal that could shake the foundation of the European Union itself. For decades, the European Union has lectured the world on transparency, on rule of law, on accountability, but now those very principles stand challenged inside the European Union's own walls. At the center of this storm is Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission. She has just entered the first year of her second term, already burdened with accusations of secrecy, of lacking transparency, and now she faces something far more dangerous, a full-blown fraud probe targeting two of European Union's biggest names. The European Public Prosecutor's Office, the EU's highest anti-fraud body, has dropped a bombshell. Two senior figures, one a former Commission Vice President, another top diplomat, have been detained. And critics are already sharpening their knives. Many leaders are demanding a fourth vote of no confidence against Ursula von der Leyen. If these allegations stand, this could become the biggest European Union scandal in decades.
All right, following more breaking news, the EU's former chief of diplomacy has been taken into police custody in Belgium on corruption charges. At the same time, local police have reportedly raided a number of EU diplomatic service buildings and private homes as part of a larger probe. RT contributor Rachel Marsden has the details.
Yeah, you can say it's a really exciting day in the EU big top clown tent. Belgian authorities have spent the day today arresting the EU's former chief diplomat, Federica Mogherini, at the College of Europe, which is an actual post-secondary institution that she leads now, raiding homes, raiding the EU diplomatic service, probably stomping all over the flowers in the garden of Mogherini's successor, Jungle Joseph Borrell, on the way in. And all this comes a bit late, you might say, because just yesterday, French President Emmanuel Macron was hosting Zelensky in Paris, fresh off the Kiev energy sector corruption scandal, Zelensky's right-hand man walking the plank, and yet apparently Macron just could not find any corruption to talk about. So since he seems to be struggling with that, sounds like the Russian Foreign Ministry is willing to give him a bit of a hand with some brainstorming.
In the EU, every day millions of euros flow through corruption pipelines to Kiev and from there into private pockets. This has been going on for years and is happening in plain sight. Every international problem is an opportunity for Brussels to profit. From the COVID-19 pandemic to Ukraine, they prefer to ignore their own problems, constantly lecturing everyone else.
Okay, so there's a little bit of material there if he's looking for some content for the next press conference. But you're never going to guess what Macron actually said when he had an opportunity to talk about European or Ukrainian corruption, and instead he just riffed about how he thinks corruption works in Russia, because I guess he figures that what really matters to Europeans whose politicians are flushing their cash down Kiev's golden toilet is what's going on in Russia.
What is surprising is that you never hear of corruption in Russia, because there's no body, independent body, to look into it. So when we are supporting war efforts, it is important that we are very demanding and that we ensure that people are held accountable. But the fight against corruption works because there are investigations and decisions made. But what is deeply concerning is that you never hear of corruption in Russia, because again, of the way the system has been put in place and created.
Yeah, no one investigates Russian corruption. You sure about that, bro? You sure there's maybe no such thing as the Russian Prosecutor General's office or the over, 15,000 corruption cases that it identified in just the first quarter of this year, or maybe the 38,000 last year? Yeah, it just doesn't exist apparently.
In every case of discrepancies between officials' expenses and their income, as well as property acquired with funds from dubious sources, prosecutors have reclaimed these funds in court for the state. The total amount recovered exceeded 500 billion rubles. That's how rich some of our officials are.
Prosecutor General Igor Krasnov is basically just a ghost, I guess. No idea why Macron didn't seize the opportunity to enlighten everyone on his own government's McKinsey consulting contract scandal, now under criminal investigation by anti-corruption prosecutors in Paris, the same outfit that allegedly helped Macron win election in 2017 and 2022. All this came up in a French Senate report into COVID-related advice given to the French government, raising questions at that point about the extent to which Davos-linked consulting groups like this were allowed to run the whole show during COVID, including QR code, vax jab mandates, and lockdowns. No comment either, I guess, on former French President Nicolas Sarkozy, who's now been convicted of corruption twice, spent 20 days in prison recently, wrote a book about how much that sucked, a real modern-day Nelson Mandela here, and is now out pending an appeal hearing in March. How about a bit of maybe book promo for him? Talking about that corruption. Nope, got to keep the plebes focused on the task at hand, using Ukraine's deepening losses as a pretext to let the European establishment cash in while they still can, which totally does not sound corrupt at all.
All right, let's speak now live with geopolitics and strategy analyst Cyril Delattre. Cyril, good to have you on the program with us. First off, I just want to hear your initial reaction to Mogherini's arrest on alleged fraud and corruption charges.
Well, not surprised. Good evening. Thanks for having me with you. I'm not surprised. Corruption in the European Union has been known for years and years and years. And it's not that often that we see cases popping around. This one is just a little teeny part of the system. But we will see what's coming out of it.
Mogherini was arrested for potential crimes carried out in 2021 and 2022. But back in 2016, during her time as the EU's diplomacy chief, she staunchly pledged support for Ukraine. I'm just wondering if there could be a connection here with corruption to Ukraine.
Well, Mogherini was working at this place, I'm looking for my word, from 2014 to 2019. Before her, it was Catherine Ashton, and after it was Borrell. So if she has anything to do with corruption in Ukraine, that would be when Poroshenko was president of Ukraine, and we know for sure that she was very, very close to him. They met several times. They were talking over the phone very often, and every time she had the opportunity to take the defense of Ukraine, especially during the Crimea events in 2014 and after, and with the sanctions against Russia, every time she had the chance to stand for Ukraine, she unfortunately took it without any hesitation and without looking any further. So if we have to look for corruption problem within Mogherini and Ukraine, it has to be during Poroshenko. She probably has nothing to do with Zelensky, because politically Zelensky was not even existing before 2019, but Poroshenko, that's for sure.
Africans, one thing we need to understand is that these people always cover whatever that they are made of. Then they sell a false narrative to us. And because they don't show us who they truly are, we believe anything at all that they say. And we think that they are saints, and for that matter, whenever they say something concerning us, we need to be following them. These are people who talk about transparency, good governance, accountability, no corruption. So we expect that these people will not be in that lane. But these people are equally the same things that they are claiming African leaders are. And one thing that we haven't sat down to ask ourselves, why is it that these same people always point fingers at our leaders, claiming that they are corrupt, yet they are always dining with these leaders? Have you ever seen them going after any democratic elected leader who they claim is a corrupt leader? They only go after leaders that are doing something positive and right in Africa. And if you see them fighting against any leader or start tagging a leader who is a puppet to them, you should know that that leader, in one way or the other, decided not to do their bit. They are not who they claim they are. They are not what we see. They are not what they preach. Whenever they come here making it look as if we are the bad ones, and they are always here to help us. They have created some standard for themselves and pointing fingers at the rest of the world, calling Russia names, calling China names, calling Mali, Niger. You see, any good leader that is doing something good for his or her people becomes a target of these people. That is the time you see them rising against that leader, claiming that the leader isn't doing right. But these same leaders who are preaching what other people should do are just like that. It's very good that we are seeing all these things as Africans so we can learn, so we'll know what to do at what time, and we wouldn't always throw everything of ours away and hold on to what they say. Now they have preached the narrative to the point that the African will always believe what they say, whether it is true or not. Because of what they always say to the world, we go by it. We don't even go cross-checking and asking ourselves, how are these people living outside of the cameras? So as Africans, we need to stand up and know that we are the ones that can cause a change in our respective countries. Because the people we believe are angels and they can only come here to set us free. Today we've seen the kind of people they are. A lot of their members always come out to tell us the bad things that are happening in this union. But we are still here believing everything that they say on television because we always believe in them and not what is actually the reality. We need to wake up. We need to wake up as Africans. What they claim is bad and other people mustn't do is exactly what they are doing. And Africans, we are the only ones that can cause a change and know that we need to validate ourselves. We are the only ones that needs to send the narrative and not for us to sit down for other people outside of the continent to tell us their version of the African. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make African great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world and in EU.